Welcome to Women Innovators in Tech Spotlight, where breakthrough creators, bold visionaries, and fearless leaders transform ideas into impact. I'm your host, Sheetal Acharya, and today on the Spotlight, we have an inspiring leader, Christa Hill, who is the CEO of Tacit Edge and is a dynamic leader helping organizations adopt AI in clear, practical, and meaningful ways. With a unique ability to translate between business, technology, and human behavior, she guides teams through AI transformation with confidence and clarity. So let's welcome her. Hi, Christa. Welcome to the show. It's truly a pleasure to host you today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Wonderful. So, Christa, you have had such a fascinating journey. So, we would like to know more about, from where it all started and what drew you into technology.
Well, I am a born and raised Calgarian, and so late-ish in the 1970s, I came into this world. And so my path into technology has been wildly unconventional, but I grew up just a very average childhood, just like everyone else, until I discovered sport. And so I spent a lot of years training in high performance in just various areas of the country and in the United States in figure skating. So I spent a lot of time, early days, a lot of my formative years on the road with my mom competing and just absorbing the world through the lens of an athlete. Then as I got a little older, I obviously was starting to interact a little bit with technology. I could see things happening around me in my late teens. Just like a lot of folks who are Gen Xers, we got our first cell phones. And so I've always been a very early adopter of every technology that was possible. And my father got a home computer for us very early too as well. So my parents were of that mindset that we bring these things into the house. They were deeply curious about it as well. And that set the stage for where I am today.
Absolutely. And that's such a wonderful journey. Now, talking about Tacit Edge right now. So what the company does, what's your role? If you could share a little bit with us about that, would be great.
Sure. I'm the co-founder and CEO of the company. We've been around for just over 5 years now. And my path in technology took me to working and collaborating with organizations like the New York Federal Reserve Bank, Microsoft, Nike, Apple, Google, Intel. Everyone that is notable in the world, we've done some sort of collaboration with over the years. And so with that, there was a lot of lessons that I learned building technology with the best of the best, as well as working with real people, solving real problems with technology that was just now possible. But there was no school for what I did. We were learning hard on the job, and there was not very many women. So I met my co-founder, Renee Matsala, at an organization called Benevity, which is a local unicorn startup in Calgary that now moves billions of dollars around the world to not-for-profits. And we did a lot of great work in that organization. And in that moment, I looked at her and I knew she was teaching and I was mentoring a lot of folks, and we started thinking about what that might look like to create curriculum. Could we attract more people like us to this role? It's an incredibly exciting job that we have, but not a lot of diversity in it. So what would it take to democratize access to roles like we had? What kind of education would people need? And we started in very basic ways, writing curriculum, teaching folks, testing it in the workplace. And then a post-secondary approached us, very late after we'd already been experimenting and said they wanted to create a program. And we were like, yes, we already have something. And I called Renee and I was like, let's lift the program. And so we did. And so we launched the product management program at SAIT. That was our very first product that we built together within Tacit Edge, and we've just expanded from there. So we now have 8 different courses going across North America at any one given moment. I've got about 6 to 10 cohorts going at one time, and we are in the classroom every day talking about the advancements in technology and, of course, teaching people basic AI literacy, plus now everyone can be their own development team. So we need to learn how to be a great maker of technology and a good manager of technology. And that's what we teach, is the management around the technology to make sure it's solving a real problem, not just fun to build, but it actually does something. And that's very much at the heart of what we do.
So that's amazing, Christa. So, I would like to know more, like what are the common challenges that you face when you reach out the market or when you interact with your clients? So what are those common challenges that you usually face on a day-to-day basis?
Usually people come to me because there's a problem, right? We're not shipping fast enough. We're not productive enough. Something is not enough, right? We don't have enough AI. We feel like we are on our back foot and we don't know why. Or our workflow and our workload are way out of whack. So folks are just drowning in things, and we need to adopt some kind of technology that will reduce the load on people again so that we can get that back in line. So usually when people show up on my doorstep, it's because things are not going well. So, you don't come find me when things are going great. So it is really, it's always an exercise for me in figuring out what is at the core and of the root of that problem. And it may not always be obvious in the first conversation, because what it is and what they've diagnosed it to be and what I know is probably happening underneath are usually two very different things. So in my world, it's not usually a product problem. Like the technology could be failing you in a way that you think it's the technology that's failing us, or the people are not working hard enough. But usually what I find underneath is that, again, we're just not aligned so that the workflow and the workload are working well together. And once I hear all of the problems that surround that problem, we just get down to business around co-authoring a path forward that includes upgrading the technology to meet the moment and also planning for the future. I think we can all agree that this world changes on a dime, and a lot of the processes and technology that we have inside of companies was not made for a world of tariffs coming out every minute, or a true social post, or us completely changing our economic stance every week, right? So we need now technology that is flexible, and we need people that can work in a flexible environment. And there's a lot of rigidity right now in the workplace. And so a lot of my work just goes to reducing that rigidity, making things more flexible, empowering people to learn new technology and to bring it to their teams and experiment together in a way that they get failure at a discount. Because failure inside of organizations is hard to talk about, but AI is built to fail. So we will be facing that head on as a culture, as a phenomenon in the workplace. So what I do is create environments where people can experiment, low risk, low stakes. They become the more technical version of themselves that they never thought they could be, because AI allows us to do that now. So it's just that bridge between where you need to go and where you are right now, and let's walk that together. And that's very much at the heart of what we do at Tacit Edge.
Very well explained, Christa. Thanks for sharing that with us. Now, Christa, let's talk a little bit about leadership roles. When you were working with various different companies early in your career. So what are the core qualities from leadership you have learned and which you still carry with you?
I think there was a lot of great lessons I learned early days in technology of what leadership shouldn't look like. I don't think we're well known as an industry for having empathetic leaders, right? Like we have a lot of misogynistic ways and a lot of ways of systemically suppressing certain individuals from advancing. So I would say I learned leadership very hard knocks. And there was a point in my career where I was reaching outside of the technology industry to figure out how other people had done it. I read a couple of books by Brene Brown. Dare to Lead was a turning point in my career, where she gave me the vocabulary to express how I felt in the workplace. And she legitimized the feelings that I was having about what I wanted leadership to be. So I created it. I just printed off all the posters. I printed off all the workbooks, and I turned my development teams into mini little Dare to Lead pods. And that was how it all got started, and it worked. We had a project at that time, and this was at Benevity. It was a very difficult transition we were putting the company through. We wanted to get to that place where we could process at scale. And so we needed to upgrade certain parts of our processes that were very manual and very rigid and would take weeks to do. We needed to get it down to seconds. And so in that mindset, using that book, I literally transformed the team to work that way, and it worked. And I thought to myself, this is it. I finally got the model of leadership working in what I thought was a slightly different context, but working inside this one, and it unlocked everything for me. I was like, anything is possible.
Wonderful. Putting things in action.
Yeah, trying.
way, yeah.
And it's not always perfect, right? Not every activity we did worked, not everything hit, but I didn't give up. I was sure that if I could get at least 70% of that theory from that book working, that was enough. And it was enough to build on top of. And I was right. It really did. That's what's carried me all the way to this chair.
So yeah, great insights, Krista. Now talking about your global exposure, we were talking off camera, you have been to various different places. So how that experience has shaped you as a leader, and what are the learnings which you gained from your travel?
I would say through the various organizations that I've worked with, I've got to see a lot of, seen a lot of inside of a lot of really great airports on the way to a lot of very fancy, beautiful office spaces where, technology, they're heavily invested. And it's been an interesting journey in watching the different leadership styles and also the different environments where people are working. And very much what I learned was not every environment is going to inspire people to do their best work. In technology, we're known for open air workplaces where we're all in these little pods and it's very noisy, lots of fluorescent overhead lights and things that are not actually what a lot of people need in their workspace to do their best work. And so what it taught me was seeing the various ways that companies try to accommodate for that between a mix of being in person and at home, the different hours of work, how many days we're working, and there was no one that was the same. But I think that during COVID, for me personally, I was able to spend a lot of time at home and create that personalized workspace for myself that I never had. And through that, what I do when I bring that to my teams is ask them, like, we're going to have a meeting here for the next hour. How is it possible that you're going to do this next work, your best work that you've ever done in the next hour? I know that that's not real, but can we have a meeting, learn more than we did before the meeting, and then can you take it away, go to that space where you do all your best thinking, and then let's make the decision after that. So I think what's really changed on how I operate is that I don't think that a conventional 9 to 5, starting the teams meeting at 8:30, we're done at 9:15 and we did our best work. I don't take any of that for granted anymore, and I don't operate like that. So
It's really flexible.
it is absolutely, and that's what I've learned from just seeing how different organizations have done it and watching how leaders work. So not the environments they give their employees, but the environments they create for themselves. That is what I noticed. How are they the quiet spaces, the meditation, the time to think, the thing that we don't necessarily offer up to our employees is incorporated into a lot of the work that I do, is making sure that I'm slowing us down when we're not as confident and I'm speeding us up when we are, and creating that elastic all the way through your journey, either learning with me or working with me in whatever capacity that we're taking on.
Yeah, that's an interesting insight, Krista.
Yeah.
So Krista, nowadays, right, everybody is looking to adopt AI, right? But not many people know what they want to do or or how to implement AI for that matter. So what are your thoughts on that?
We are saying and doing two different things. We're trying a lot of things, but the stats are showing us now, like a year into this sales cycle that we're in on AI, only 20% of companies actually have a strategy. So they don't really know what the opportunity is. So 80% of them are guessing right now, which is causing a lot of failure. But like I said to you, technology and AI is built to fail. That's how we learn. So it's about making those experiments small. So on your way to figuring out that strategy, you're not making huge missteps and spending a lot of money. So I think when we think about how ready we are as a nation, and especially in North America, we have a lot of old systems, and everybody has I'm going to use my favorite 3-letter acronyms like a CRM or an ERP that they installed maybe 7 years ago that outlived its real usefulness. But now it's just a place where the data goes to die. Yeah, right? And it's not overly helpful. It's not saving us time. We're working around these systems, but still using them. So a lot of the work that I do is going into organizations and just sitting them down and asking them, if you wanted to ask that system a question today, like right now, what would you ask it? What is the data that you would love to have at your fingertips? what would help you do your job better today if you didn't have to spend 6 hours trying to create some custom report that nobody knows how to do, right? Or that person who knows how to do it doesn't work here anymore.
Right.
So if you could just remove all of that inconvenience and just sit down with it, and it had a face and you could ask it a question, what would you ask? And I think from those conversations, we start looking at the data that we are collecting right now. Are we collecting too much? Is it actually not useful for us, right? Too much is too much when it comes to AI. So can we collect less? Can it do more? But asking the questions and knowing what those questions are is your start to just that overall efficiency win. Because like I said, it all goes back to, we need to learn by putting our own masks on when it comes to AI first before we turn it towards our customers. So from an operational perspective, if we can get those early wins by, again, asking the questions that allow us to balance that workload with the workflow, what are those questions? What can we build on top of those systems to make them more useful? Because we can now, AI makes that possible. And then once we get really good and we feel confident, we take the mask, we turn it out towards our customer base, and we ask what questions or what problems do they have now that we didn't talk about before because we were serving them this way, but now the world has changed dramatically. Are there other ways that we could serve them, that we could use AI to help advance these needs, this value? What is that thing? And then we go after that. So I think it's a very staged approach. And a lot of folks are taking the let's go customer first. And I think that's a mistake. Early days, let's learn on ourselves and let's work out the wrinkles internally and then turn that mask outwards. But it really starts with that question, how can I make my job easier? If there was one thing I didn't have to do today that is a repetitive task that I'm doing every day, and it would really be great if I didn't have to do it anymore, what is that thing? And we just build on a game of inches instead of a big transformation project that has a beginning and an end. Can the organization, instead of it being an artifact, turn into an organism? Can we just make those slow movements towards that being a living, breathing thing?
Having compartments.
You bet. And then, like I said, that big idea of a big transformation, it's too risky, it's too big, it's too expensive. You don't have to do that, but you've got to have the mindset. And so when I teach product management, this is very much that mindset. It's different from project management, right? I know everything up front. You're pushing a solution to me and I've got a time frame and a budget, and I'm gonna build it. Versus what is the problem we want to solve? What is the question we want to have answered? And how can we move closer towards answering that question every day? That is product management. So that mindset is the key to learning how to manage AI. So I, start inside organizations with that first, get everybody comfortable, and then we move into AI implementation, which for the majority of folks isn't AI. It's a lot of upgraded automation and a better relationship with their data.
Well, that's a wonderful answer, Christa, and I really loved the way you explained. And definitely talking about the data, not every data is important. The quality of the data is important, what you're building upon.
Yeah.
So completely aligned. And thanks for sharing those wonderful insights with us.
Thank you.
Christa, beyond technology, beyond work, we would like to know more about your family. Who all are the key members in your family, and any hobbies and interests that you have?
Sure. Well, I have an intergenerational home. I've got my mother that I moved in with me during COVID after her husband passed away. And I've got a daughter, and she lives with me obviously as well. And so we have this great little pod at home where we're all learning together. We all experiment with technology. It's obviously a big part of our household. Keeping grandma in the know, as well as, obviously living through the lens of my daughter's upbringing that is pure technology for them, which was wildly different than mine, has been a really exploration in the evolution of parenthood and what matters right now, who to be as a parent, as opposed to how I was parented. And I think that dynamic at home is one of the most rewarding things that I ever did. And a lot of folks would have said to me like, oh my gosh, like, why would you move your mom in with you? It's not really that common in my demographic anyways. And so, it was one of the best things I ever did. And because of that, though, we can navigate the growth of the business together too. I have a lot of support at home. Obviously, of course, having my mom there with my daughter, and she's likewise very supportive of her and the things that my mom needs. So I think, we've got a couple of pets at home too. We've got a cat and a dog. And so we've got a very busy a very busy little household that just hums at the pace of tech and just whatever the world throws at us.
Love the way you beautifully expressed, Christa. Now, talking about your hobbies and interests, do you have, like, other than work, any hobbies or interests that you are involved in?
I love tech. So my hobbies are really trying new tools.
Wonderful.
It's very time consuming to be someone who is advising very senior people in all industries. It is, if it's not your hobby, playing with the tech and the toys, it should be, right? So I do spend a lot of time playing, mostly for fun things. Like, for instance, a couple of days ago, I went into Nano Banana, which is Google's latest image generator. And I created a great podcast image of me, my cat, and my dog, just to see to learn a different method of prompting, to see if I could push the tool to give it, to get results that I've never been able to achieve before. And I did. And again, doing something for fun that I could post then on LinkedIn, and we all have a good laugh because everybody knows my pets and they're really cute. And the other thing that I do is I spend a lot of time, I have an RV that I've converted to have an incredible desk area with a couple of screens. So my daughter is an avid player of sports, and so I am a full-time Uber driver. And so I can go and take her to all of the things she wants to do. I'm in the back of this RV, I'm having my meetings, I'm playing with these tools, building strategies, building AI, working with folks on their product problems. And it's a very integrated way of living.
Wow.
I love being in the great outdoors, though. Living in Alberta means that we have access to some of the most beautiful environments you can be in. So just leaving the city in that RV and ending up in Canmore or Banff for an afternoon with my Starlink, going for a walk, all of these things I love to do. But when you're a parent, you don't have a heck of a lot of time for other hobbies other than their hobbies, and then some core ones that I've got that thankfully align with my business, so I can stay really on top of stuff.
Wonderful. Love the idea of having the RV and you can be around the nature and still work.
Yeah, and there's so many founders in Canada that operate like this, and we all meet up at campsites through the summer.
Wonderful.
We get together, we talk about the problems in our businesses, the things that we're seeing, we share insights. It's a great little community that we've got that are RVers. So it's a great way to be a business owner and to find community too.
That's wonderful to know. Amazing. Now, Christa, if you have to give one piece of advice to aspiring leaders or people who are looking to make their own venture or looking to kind of build their own company, based on your experience, what would you recommend them or suggest them?
The time is now. Don't wait until you're ready. Just start. With the tools that are available to us now around back office administration, tools around marketing, tools for creating a great strategy, large language models like ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini, all of these are great thinking partners that can progress your business and get it off the ground in an afternoon that would have taken me months before. So if you are thinking about creating a side hustle and you have something that really brings you a lot of joy, you can go into these tools and you can ask it, how could I turn this into a business? Like, how could this be my next side hustle? Or how can I take all of my work experience and talk about your career inside these tools, everything that I've ever done, and turn this into a consultancy? Like, how might that be possible for me in this moment in time when it never was that easy in the past? It was very complex, right? But now, not with these tools. So I would say if you're thinking about doing it, don't wait. The sooner you get started, the better. If you are the answer to somebody's question that they are putting into ChatGPT, you should build a business around it. And as organizations, as they are adopting technology and they're trying to find their way, to leaders, I would say to them, now is the time to learn and get hands-on. In the past, our playbook would have said, train your people, have an individual training program, put them through it, and you just oversee. That's not what's going to get your business to the next place where you want to have a successful future in your operations. You've got to roll up your sleeves, and you also have to learn, but there's great bridge education out there for business leaders. So you can learn the tech, you can understand what powers, especially AI, and you can make great decisions around your ethics, what you stand for, so that you know policy and governance and all these things that we're struggling with to get off the starting line. It becomes more natural to you because you've been a builder. So these things, it's literally a few weeks in a learning environment that is tailor-made just for you as leaders, that you can be surrounded by your peers and you can take these steps, and this is the path forward.
Wonderful, and that's truly motivating. Now, Christa, we are almost coming to end of our wonderful conversation, and in the end, we have a segment called as the rapid fire round.
Cool.
It is going to be a fun segment. Let me know once you're ready.
Yeah, totally. Let's do it.
Wonderful. So your first question, biggest professional risk you have taken?
I left a VP role at Morgan Stanley to start this business, and I was a single parent.
I mean,
Everybody thought I was crazy, but placing that bet on myself, I thought was the biggest risk, but it was actually the smallest risk I've ever taken. But it didn't feel like it at the time.
you believed in yourself.
Yeah, I had to.
Wonderful. The next question, a habit that keeps you grounded in leadership.
Understanding that at the root of all conflict isn't somebody being right or someone being wrong, but the need for a mutual understanding of everybody's position. I think in the age that we're in right now, we need to have that curiosity around the position instead of the knowledge of, in order for me to be right, you have to be wrong. I think that's at the core of how I operate.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Who inspires you the most in your life?
Oh, that's a tough one. I have so many.
Sorry.
I would say there's a lot of founders that I'm very close with that are a constant source of information or inspiration because it's just their grit and determination. Bobby Reset, the CEO of Virtual Gurus, who just took her exit, was the first Indigenous founder to ever exit a tech company that was massive, and that's a huge inspiration. Also, April Hickey, the CEO of Toast, which is the movement towards equitable pay for women in the workplace. I would say those two women, plus my co-founder, Renee Matzala, is always a source of major inspiration. Her lifestyle and her goals have really motivated me to make changes in my life to achieve a mission of I'm enoughness.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one. Your favorite travel destination?
I would say London, England. I love going to London mostly because of the transit system. It's so easy to just jump on the tube and go to wherever you need to go. I love a good transit system. And I just love the variety of the folks there and the technology scene. I do love London.
Great, good to know. Your last question now. One place on your travel bucket list?
Oh, Japan.
Japan?
I would love to go to Japan.
In spring.
Yes. Yeah. And have it not be a work trip.
Just for leisure?
Yeah. Just because.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Much
I'd love
needed,
to take
right?
my family there. Yeah.
Lovely. So thank you so much for all those prompt answers, Christa. And it's truly inspiring and it's truly motivating listening to your career journey and what you're currently doing. And we really wish you continued success. And thank you so much for being on our show today.
Thank you
Lovely
so much.
meeting you.
Yeah. Thank you.